You're listening to the 357. I am the host, William Spear, and this is the current series called It Suits Her. This part of the story has no music, no theme songs, and no segues. It is one person, facing a moment 10 years in the making. The protagonist, Argosy Maxwell Williams, is sitting in his friend's restaurant. Nicknamed Maxie, he once had a career envied by most. He acted opposite the finest performers of his generation. He worked for the legendary directors and turned down scripts from the most powerful studios in the world. Maxie also drank himself out of his career and lost his family. He's been sober for 5 years, but hasn't seen his wife in 10. While in the restaurant, his wife unexpectedly sits at his table. With no preparation and no rehearsal, this is the performance of his life. Enjoy episode 19 of It Suits Her, and Maxie, it's all yours. Thanks, William. I begged Tony not to leave, but it didn't work. With no alternative and not wishing to draw attention to myself, I sat. There was no choice but to talk with Agnes. She started, "How have you been for the last 10 years, Maxie?" I answered with phony amazement. "Would you look at the time?" She stared at me, and I had to answer. "Oh, you know, a little of this and a little of that." "Working?" she asked, expecting me to say no. My discomfort was growing. I faked a yawn and continued, "It really is kind of late." She stared. "Defeat, thy name is Maxie." "Pretty steady," I conceded, "especially the last 4 years. Even have a retirement account." The thought of me working steady and having a retirement account made Agnes choke on her tonic and lime. She regained her composure and told me she hadn't seen my name around town. "Not on stage or film," I confessed, "but a couple of jobs that keep me busy." She leaned slightly into the conversation. "Tell me." I didn't want to, and shook my head no, sounding more like an interrogator rather than an interested party. She insisted, "Go on." "The one I really like is in the men's department at Scherzer's." Her previous shabby chic comment now caused disbelief. "Scherzer's," she said. "The high-end store at the traffic circle?" It was my turn to have an advantage. I smiled and shook my head yes. Her disbelief doubled, and she asked if I was any good. I couldn't sell a glass of water to a man in the desert, but I make customers laugh, and they usually buy a shirt or a tie. Plus, I work with some of the best people I've ever known. They're funny and creative, like an ensemble. Around them, I've got my timing back. They encouraged me to audition for Tony's play. Advantage me. I looked for courage in a sip of tonic with lime and asked, "Why are you here, Agnes?" You've just listened to episode 19 of It Suits Her. The 357 is written and produced by William Spear. Thank you for listening. And Maxie, I'm wondering the same thing. Why is Agnes in the restaurant? After 10 years, what could have happened? Why did she leave her leftover tuna fish sandwich on rye with potato chips to see you? Maxie, there's a freight train coming, but you're not the only one on the track.